This is getting out of hand. The Knicks have won their fourth in a row, defeating their opponents by a margin of 22 points per game. They beat the Brooklyn Nets in dominating fashion last night by a score of 134-98. It was a formality, very matter-of-fact performance by the New York Knicks. But I do have some things I want to talk about, some critiques, some things that I really liked, obviously. And first, let me introduce myself. My name is Poppa Left. I am the host of Your Knicks. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can get this channel out to Knicks fans just like you. We'll start with the positives last night. Right off the bat, Karl Anthony Towns, extremely aggressive, backing down his opponent into the paint. He's got this new approach where if he's not at his spot in the mid-range, he just goes right into his post-up game and just plays bully ball. It's actually an advancement in his offensive isolation bag, which I've been really excited about. He did get stuffed at the rim a couple times last night, so he's going to have to adjust to other teams adjusting to, his little baby hooks, and they know he's going to, be very patient with the back down. So they're going to have help. They're going to have people trying to block his shot. But I thought like that addition to his offensive approach is really good for us because it helps another look for defenses to prepare for. They got to shrink down and they got to pinch down to the post and rake down to the post. Which will create even more sprays for our offense and also just give more early confidence for Karl Anthony Towns. I actually saw that in game 6, the closeout game against the Celtics, where he was super aggressive. And, he's a guy that complains about foul calls a lot. I think it puts the onus on the referee early on just to see, how his whistle is going to be. Are they going to call fouls down low? And it just gets Cat out of this, tentative approach. We know he can shoot the 3 ball. Like he is one of the best. He's probably the best 3-point shooter on our team. Obviously, OG Anunoby shooting out of his mind right now. But, him, Brunson, OG, I think we got a lot of 3-point shooters. But, yeah, I thought Karl Anthony Towns was phenomenal last night from jump. And Jalen Brunson was finding everybody in rhythm of the offense. And the Knicks got out to a quick, I think it was about a 10-2 lead. And then Michael Porter Jr., seemingly, other than Nick Claxton, seemingly the only real true professional rotational player. He's not a superstar. He's not an all-star, but he is definitely a powerful scorer in this league, of one of the top wings, outside of those all-star group players. And the Knicks just forgot about him, it seemed, and he went off last night in the first half for about 22 points. The Knicks didn't have an answer for him. But the Knicks pulled ahead by a score of 40-22 in the first quarter. And they had a lineup that I really liked. Let's see if I can remember it. It was Brunson, McBride, OG, Mitch, and Bridges. Brunson, McBride, OG, Mitch, and Bridges. Or in Hart. Brunson, McBride, Hart, OG, and Mitch. That lineup, it was like when they came on the floor, the Knicks were actually struggling on defense. Karl Anthony Towns was struggling to get off defensive rebounds. Landry Shamet was getting beat to the basket. Guys looked just kind of like, weaker at the rim. And then when those guys came in, McBride, OG, and Mitch, I put up on Twitter a picture of Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, and Ray Lewis, because that was like a defensive, hockey sub if I ever saw one. So I was really excited about that lineup. And it's surrounding Brunson with defensive-minded players that can also get up and down the floor. You look at McBride, Hart, OG, and Mitch. Those are guys that are, agile, athletic, long, with the exception of Hart. But Hart does play into the loose balls. So he's definitely not someone that's super compromised by his height, especially when it comes to the hustle. So I love that lineup. That lineup went 11-0. So take a snapshot of that lineup. Brunson, Hart, OG, McBride, and Mitch. Love that lineup from Mike Brown. In the second quarter, it was not good for the Knicks. The Knicks got outscored 40-37. Mike Brown talked about it on the postgame, how the defense wasn't identifying Michael Porter Jr. Honestly, that part didn't bother me as much. It was more so the rebounding. The Nets had 9 offensive rebounds I think they almost had 11 offensive rebounds. And they actually had a foul that wasn't an offensive rebound at the end of the half that gave them 2 more free throws. And Karl Anthony Towns, I was ripping him on Twitter. He was just too soft, man, under the basket, just letting other guys, Day'Ron Sharp, just too many guys just grabbing offensive rebounds. And Cat was right there. He just didn't give that extra effort. And I felt like Mike Brown was not going to be happy going into that second half. The Knicks carried a 15-point lead. And wouldn't you know, they came out in the second half and they gave up 17 points in the third, 19 points in the fourth. That's a 36-point total. Shot to the Wu-Tang. And the Knicks just locked in on defense and took care of business. And I don't know. I'm not in that locker room, right? I'm not there. All I can say is there's ethics of the game that you can learn in a game where you're playing a team that is obviously tanking without real veteran presence, without young players that are on the rise, right? You saw Igor Damon, I'm not sure how to say him, but you don't have Nolan Traore, you don't have Ben Saraf, you don't have Danny Wolf, right? You don't have your core of young players. They're out in the G League trying to develop. And the Nets are obviously a team that's probably going to get about 20 wins, if that. And how do you competitively compare for this game? I'm not in that locker room, but I can tell you this: from being up 15 at half and having a poor second quarter, I thought the Knicks, if I were to guess, if I were to get into that halftime halftime talk, I'm pretty sure Mike Brown ripped those guys. I'm pretty sure he told them, like, giving up 40 points to that team is unacceptable. And they gave up 40 points in the second quarter. They didn't give up 40 points in the second half. So that is just a testament to the Knicks team having to have a killer's mentality, because they're going to be probably in the first round against a young team, a team that's playing with house money, right? They're going to be the hunted team. The Knicks got to be ready to accept the other team's best effort from now on until the end of the season, especially with all these expectations. Obviously, they're at Madison Square Garden, and it's a good sign that they're 6-0 at home. I wanted to touch on other things, but I thought, like, that mentality, the approach of just, hey, let's stop playing around, let's dominate, let's play the game the right way. Obviously, the ball movement and the player movement and the cutting and the dribble drive and kicks, spraying, everybody hitting threes. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Landry Shamet, Jordan Clarkson had an offensive masterclass last night off the bench. Like, everyone's playing well. I don't think I need to speak on that as much. It's really fun to expect that, type of performance from this offense, which turned into, a free-flowing, fast-paced, into the next generation kind of offense. Whereas the last couple years, while we've been successful, it's been very ISO, very ISO heavy offense. Give the ball to your best player, kind of everybody spread out the floor and see if you can, create a double team or do a pick and roll and kind of just everybody in their stationary spots. But this offense has obviously taken off after the second half in Chicago. And I thought a lot of the interesting parts of last night's game didn't even happen during the game. It happened during the post game. Mike Brown being really reflective about his rotations early on in the year, taking accountability for saying that he didn't know when and where to insert Josh Hart in the game, as well as Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson actually talked about a system of getting 3-minute stretches. You've been seeing that across the league in the NBA in certain places where they're doing these like hockey subs, high energy kind of 3-minute spurts. And then, a lot of players haven't liked it just because they're used to getting in the rhythm of the game. But from a science standpoint, it kind of makes sense. We'll see. Obviously, that's the rubber's gonna meet the road with that when it comes to be playoff time. When you have your 8th, 9th man on the floor, disrupting the group of 5, you're gonna see those rotations kind of shortened down. But again, this is a league that has a lot of talent in it, and it's a lot of guys trying to find playing time. And it makes sense if you can get 5 guys on the floor that are highly energetic, electric, running up and down the floor, creating issues for the other team. Definitely take advantage of it. And the Knicks do have the personnel to do it. When you get guys off the bench like McBride, Hart, Clarkson, Shamit. These are guys that are willing, defenders. They're not the tallest defenders, but they get up and down the floor. They're pesky guys. I still think that the Knicks need a backup wing or a backup forward. I think the Knicks might need a backup point, but they've kind of like worked around that with McBride and Clarkson. And I do think they need a backup center. So they're going to try to figure that out. I told you, yes, in the last video with Yabusele, people were like, this is a little too early. It's 8 games in. Don't you think it's a little bit much? Look, Yabusele didn't play last night. Like, he played when the game was a 35-point game, but he was out of the rotation. And last night, if I'm not mistaken, was the first time he wasn't in the rotation. So what I'm seeing is what Mike Brown's seeing. This guy he's a step too slow to guard fours. He can't anchor the defense at a 5. And people are saying, well, Left, he's situational, and Mike Brown will play him in situations, and the Nets didn't have double bigs. And I said, well, that's fine. But if your situation for your backup 4 is to defend against double bigs, why would you get an offensive-minded forward? Why wouldn't you just keep Precious Achiuwa? And I think the Knicks may have over-evaluated what they thought they were getting in Yabusele. Even in garbage time, he didn't look too impressive. And I think like the pace of the way that the Knicks play, I'm not sure he can do that. Can he get in the game in a half-court scenario and impact the game and get rebounds and shoot the 3-ball? Sure. But can he keep up the pace with the rest of the guys? I don't think so. I'll tell you who can. Mohamed Diawara. Last night, catch and shoot 2 threes. He just looks confident and he looks the part. He reminds me of a Miles McBride in his rookie year where it was like, hey, I'll do whatever role you need me to do to get on this floor. I'll perfect whatever. If you need me to perfect the 3-point shot, I'm going to do that. He looks really confident. Not just like, okay, I'm trying to, like, Dadier shot a 3 last night from the corner. It went off the backboard. And I'm not doing this to like dump on Dadier, but like Diawara looks ready. He looks ready to play on an NBA floor. And I said this was my first video on this channel. I really think he could be the 7th most impactful player on this team. I really do. Obviously, he's going to have to work his rhythm out, his confidence, his game. All those things is going to take time. And he's going to look bad at times, for sure. But for what he can do with his athleticism at 6'10", and the way that the Knicks want to play, he wants to play that way. He wants to get up and down. Look at his activity. Just watch him when he's in the game. Look at his activity just in the half court. He is shuffling his feet just off energy, off ethics. So he's not, he's a guy that can help and then close out as well with his wingspan. He's not going to get beat, because he's helping a lot. So there's a lot of things to like there. Other guys got in the game. Kolek, Dadier didn't really do much. Huck Porty got in the game, but it wasn't really much to speak about. The Knicks next game, I believe, is against the Grizzlies, I want to say, or Grizzlies or Magic this week. And then they end with a game. They end their home stand against the Miami Heat. We'll cover all of those games, and we'll make sure that, we get all different updates, injury updates, maybe trades in the NBA as it relates to the Knicks. We never know, especially with, the movement of this league is very unpredictable, even early on. So with that said, that's going to pretty much do it here for this recap. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. I think we're approaching 250 subscribers. And I was watching a Jets channel yesterday, watching my Jets win their 2nd in a row. Shout out to Aaron Glenn, who want to fly with them effing Jets. But I was watching this channel and he was like, we got 25,000 subscribers. And I was like, that's going to be this channel one day. That is definitely going to be with this channel one day. And I'm super excited about 250. Like, I am fired up. So with that said, my name is Poppa Left. I am the host of Your Knicks. Stay tuned to the channel for all of your Knicks content. Peace.